Good morning, lovely people. And today is Monday, the 1st of August, Lammas Day 2022. And in the Mayan calendar, we have blue planetary eagle, the manifestation of who we are as a planetary server. And my viewpoint on this is the more that we heal, the more that we transform our old ancestral pattern story, the more we can serve the planet, because we're then coming from a very gorgeous, juicy, free place. Today in Lammas, Lunasad is another word, a pagan ritual on one level and a church one on another. And if you look at the pagans, they were prior to any formal religion, so there's a whole story around that as well. And if you're into energy, ley lines, stone circles, and picking up on the goddess and god in the land, then this is again a huge area of research and wonderful to visit these sacred sites and be energetically swiped and swipe the sacred site yourself as well. And I know lots of people who are doing this process, especially in the UK. So Glastonbury is the heart chakra and currently the third eye chakra of the world. And 52 ley lines coming into Glastonbury. There's a big zodiac on the landscape. Also, this exists, of course, in many other places in the world as well, the zodiac and ley lines. And lots of information out there for people to check out. And on these sacred days to go and visit. Lunasad and Lammas is really a feast day, a celebration of what has come in the harvest, and really feeling that shift today in the UK because it's been so dry here, very little rain, and so everything is really drying up at the moment, and it does feel like fall, like autumn, because of that dryness. It's just a very different dynamic to many summers where we get lots of rain and then the flowers just keep on coming for a long time. But today in my garden, it is crispy in lots of places and having to do some extra watering there from the water butts. So we could actually do with some more rain, which is strange to say in the UK. So today, following on from yesterday and the video that I made then, is this very important astrological alignment. And today, Mars comes in as well into the conjunction. So we've got Mars, Uranus, and the North Node all at 18 degrees of Taurus, which is a number 9 gateway, and really revealing our soul purpose as a collective on the planet. We each have our own personal North Node trajectories and how that fits in with what's happening on the planet. So these North Nodes last for about 18 months and they come around approximately every 18 and a half years. And so again, with these cycles, where they are in your chart, if you check out the Persephone story, just Google that, Persephone and Demeter, and Hades is the Greek version of it. And it's our own personal metaphor for what happened to us around our first North Node at around 18 and a half years old, of where we were hijacked, where we experienced some sort of traumatic event that shattered our innocence, if you will, that broke our heart maybe in some way, that opened us up to something different from what we believed before. And this is a key theme to work with. Remember, we're busting through these conditioned mindsets that we've inherited in our biology, in our culture. We're creating empowerment for ourselves now by letting them go. And it's a very, very intense time on the planet. The North Node being in Taurus is about manifestation, and the South Node is about Scorpio, death and rebirth. What do we need to release from our ancestors? This is going to be very strong energy in October when we go into the sun in Scorpio. This is huge around creating boundaries around survival, moving beyond those, learning to be a different human being who is focusing on their own personal survival and well-being and health, and redefining these boundaries, especially as to who you're letting into your personal circle, your sovereignty, and how you determine how you want to live on planet Earth at this time. So lots of power struggles. This came in January. So like I said, for 18 months, we got this energy. It goes backwards. And so previously we had North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. And again, if you believe in past lives and you want to find out more about that in your chart, you can also look at the 9-year cycle of that. So if you've got North Node in Scorpio, for example, you are now living the 9-year cycle of your South Node in Taurus. And this will be bringing up lots of past life issues for you. When we come in, we are picking up on that on the next step for human evolution. And this is why we're here at this time. So today I've been looking at the moon, and the moon is in waxing Virgo. And again, where this is in your chart is really key. So I've just been doing a refresh on that. Once you've got your chart, which you can do on AstroDienst, you can Google that and just go in for a free chart. There's other websites that do it as well. And you just put in your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. And then you can put in lots of additional stuff as well. So that's astro.com. And you can put your information and create yourself a chart there and start yourself on an amazing journey if you haven't done this already. And then once you've got your chart, you can look at where things are and start to study it, because this is your map to navigate. This is what brings illumination to your North Node as well. And so for me, I have Leo and Virgo in my 7th house of relationship, and my Sun is there, my Mercury retrograde is there, my vertex is there, my Uranus and my Pluto is there. And generationally, if you're a similar age to me, so I was born in 1965, you will also have Pluto and Uranus in Virgo because it's a generational thing. And you can look, again, using the moon to bring up your moon story very specifically, giving lots of detail, which of course, this is what Virgo energy is about. The devil is in the detail. And I have Virgo at 29 degrees here. So again, this is key for doing this work and drilling down, finding these stories and themes. So the moon at the moment is at 20 degrees of Virgo. And so it's just been going through over the past few hours through my Uranus and through my Pluto story. And if you look up Inside Degrees, which is an amazing channeled website, it's called aquaorfire.net, and you can put in the numbers in there and you can look at your personal sigil story, and they will bring up amazing stories for you so you can understand yourself more as to your star code. So this is ever expanding and amazing, amazing stuff. So today we have the sun is at 9 degrees of Leo. So it's a real gateway day on this amazing astrology. And again, looking at what we value, what we love, what we want to manifest in the world, what is our personal legacy, how we are learning and evolving that and changing things that our ancestors have maybe got stuck in. And once we really understand this process, then we really can take action, because the 9th step, according to Christopher Witecki, is about Mars. He has a great system, check him out. Mars is, again, the theme of the 13-day process that we're in. White World Bridger, Mars taking action, along with Red Skywalker taking action. They're twinned together. And so we're in that 52-day process of being the Skywalker, taking action. So today, what do we want to take action on? And setting that intention with this waxing moon, remembering that the previous 260-day cycle that we were in before this one started on the 19th of May, was in Virgo. It was about mindsets, and it was about what has been sent to us before. In order to be present, we're working on everything that has come before, not just for us, but for every ancestor. We're building on the energy. And the key thing about this calendar, remember, is the 13 steps. It's taking the steps to create the shift and not being stuck on the 12-step program. So Virgo at 20 today, the expanse of the Himalayas in the distance. When you place a spiritual cosmic perspective upon every single little thing that happened, you will either overshoot the mark or discover perfect meaning. The overshooting of the mark happens when the little mind and the greater mind become warped in their relativities. Proportion tumbles before pregnant magnitude. Everything is sprinkled with archetypal overtones. Perfect meaning arises here when the truth is the yardstick. That's a very key part. And you simply align yourself with the truth in a non-dogmatic fashion. Again, this is me intervening here. So that sentence in itself is the whole deal. Okay, so truth is the yardstick, not subjective truth, objective truth, which is obtained through healing and getting clear of any distortions around our shadow patterns. Aligning ourselves with truth, to me, that means embodiment and taking action and living it in a non-dogmatic fashion. So again, many people involved in a spiritual framework are simply trotting out dogma that anybody can read. Doesn't mean that they are living it. And many examples of that around people and frameworks in Glastonbury itself. Know them by the fruit of their labours and how they live rather than what they say. Okay, so back to the quote. The spirit of discovery becomes the spur. The unknown makes the known precious and poignant. You finally get it right that every microcosmic situation is a jewel in the making and only needs to be appreciated and boosted by faithful beholding. The passage is from thinking about it to becoming at home with the path of bringing all worlds together, just as the occasion makes possible with a light touch and an easy grasp of the reins. It's just so beautiful, isn't it? And so key to White World Bridger and what it's all about. Letting go of the old worlds, embodying the new through healing, and not keep listening to the conditioned mind who will often bring us our fears and project them and forget the truth that we are an amazing spiritual being in a human being design and story, that we are here to evolve and live the goddess energy. So very, very important. And Taurus, Hathor, Isis, again, you can put these asteroids in your chart and you can see deeper meaning. Once you start working with the asteroid, which is Ixchel, it is White Wizard, and the 13-year process that we're in, the asteroids totally pinpoint story. Once you start working on this level, it will blow your mind and give you faith around everything that's happening to you and how you can be proactive instead of reactive as a primary focus. So surrendering to the path and also really working on a deep level to rewire your amygdala process through healing it. And the emotions are where it's at. So just to focus on some questions that came up in the group today, or rather yesterday, from Jamie. So thank you for that, Jamie. Okay, so let's just look at these questions. So 1, 5, and 9 are gateways. Okay, so yes, in every 13-day process, number 1 is the initiation, number 5 is the mastery, number 9 is the gateway. And so the question is, I referred to white. Yes, because we're in a white wave spell. And so in the initiating red dragon, 1, 5, and 9 are red because it's a red. Yeah, so the same in blue, it'll be a blue. The same in yellow, it'll be a yellow. And in the green, again, in the green castle, we're just doing, this is the overtone. So this is where we're doing the mastery. So yes, that's in the green castle. So in the red castle, if you're in a red 13-day process, the first one, all those gateways are going to be red. Then you go to the white, they're all going to be white. You go to the blue, they're all going to be blue. You go to the yellow, they're all going to be yellow. And so the same in the 13-year cycles. If it's a red 13-year cycle, like red moon on the planet, those gateway years are all going to be red. And I'm going to leave it there. It does become more complex on that as well, on our own personal 13-year cycles. Okay, so tones 1, 5, and 9 are time gates. I call them spirit dimensions. Okay, so yes, tones 1 is magnetic. So it's showing you where you actually are in the universal scheme of things. You're attracting something in. So for example, we're in tone 1 in terms of the 13 moon calendar. We're in the magnetic moon cycle. It began on the 26th of July and it will last for 28 days. And in that time, we're seeing what our attraction is around who's coming into our circle, around being a beacon of light, being authentic, and taking us to a whole different level if we choose to go there in the dance. Tone 5 is overtone, so it's mastery of the first 4 tones. And tone 5, so red overtone moon, by the time we get there, we are looking at the first 4. Once we've done the first 4, we've got the framework. The first 4 days in any cycle, we've got the framework for what comes next that we're going to be building on. And if you take the first 13-day process, so the very first is Red Dragon, what the Great Mother is bringing us, and it's an Akashic portal. So on the 19th of May, to use a Gregorian calendar, what you were working with back then, that was what the Great Mother was bringing for you around your Akashic storyline around survival issues. On day 2, which is the 20th of May, you are seeing the new learning from Spirit coming in, and what you're going to be working with for the whole year. On day 3, Blue Night, you were seeing the structure of alchemy, changing your survival hell stories, transforming them with the aid of Spirit on day 2, and the aid of the Great Mother bringing you that alignment. So again, often we see that as a problem, the ego. And again, that's what today is about. It's transforming our ego, taking action, maturation. Our ego has a problem with things that we haven't healed, and surrendering to Spirit and the divine path, and wants to do it its own way, wants to do it in the tried and tested way. And again, this is tricky, because often this is corrupted, wants to stay in its comfort zone, and that this is not the time for that. So the 4th is Yellow Seed. And Yellow Seed is releasing the star seed, but we have to release our coping mechanisms. We have to allow ourselves to feel. This is where emotional freedom technique comes in. Our emotional mind is programmed to not allow us to go into these shadow emotions too deeply. Otherwise, we can become depressed and stay in that. And so it avoids it. Unless you've got a tool to use, this is why people often self-medicate with alcohol, with drugs, with numbing out, TV, anything to not feel, anything to not deal with the current situation. And that, that's common sense, isn't it, really? You don't want to be putting yourself into huge fear and emotion if you haven't got the tools to work with it. This is why it's so important to have emotional freedom technique. Of course, there are other techniques as well. There's lots of different techniques, but EFT is very specifically working with your emotion in order to allow yourself to feel and be with the current situation. And of course, the current situation for most of our society does not promote joy and living a healthy life, which is why we have all these pharmaceutical interventions to keep people working with their symptoms rather than getting to the root cause and making a change, making a shift, creating a different life. So this is very important. And so having a tool to work with the emotional mind is essential in order to make this shift. Day 5 is the overtone. So then we're looking at the structure of relationship, the Kundalini, and how we've learned how to do relationship and how we've learned to believe who we are through our relatives. And so, yes, this is a huge gateway point. And then as we move on to White World Bridger, we have the shift in the old world. That's the 6th step. The 7th step is the mystic blue hand transformation. All the blues are transformation points, remember. So this is the top of the pyramid, the mystic. This is where our spirit lives in our emotions, showing us, triggering us in our heart what's in alignment with our heart, with joy, with love, with the galactic center, where we're free of the human being story. Step 8, yellow star, be the star you really are, learn your star code, maturation with Venus. And the gateway point then is red moon, and allowing Mercury, our higher god and goddess, to come in when we're being authentic, when we're being truthful and not doing any manipulation, codependent code, we come into that source code. So that's 1, 5, and 9. And then 10, today, we've got the manifestation of that. So in every 13-day process, they're slightly different as to the energies, as to the Mayan signs that are coming in, but the tones are the same. So this 13-step process is the same. And what you can do, and what I do with my ebook, is I give a resource for this. So you can use this resource to work with each day and what comes up for you. You set an intention in the beginning, and then you work through your own personal process, and then you see where you are today and what you're doing. So the 7th, hope I've explained that. That's the blue hand dynamic. Of course, that will change in each 13-day process because it won't always be blue hand. It'll be different in every process. But that's the energy of it, shaping our destiny and healing, creating something different using our hands. Could be massage, could be tapping on your points, acupressure, working to create something beautiful in your environment. Lots of different ways to use your hands. And the cards that I select, again, are a reflection of me because I'm selecting them. So they're not definitive. You know, I'm just showing them with the group as to my personal creation of the group. And so if you do your own personal card selection, then it's going to be different for you. I highly recommend the Mayan Oracle because it's a very different framework to any other. And today the cards that I've selected are the Mayan Oracle is number 4. So it's yellow seed. In this particular wave spell, if we go back to the 4th day, then this, of course, is the Mayan New Year, which is red self-existing moon and an Akashic portal. So we're going to be working with our Akashic record, not just for us, but for all of our ancestors right back to the beginning of time, because we're the latest version of that. We're going to be looking at being authentic and how our ancestors have tried to be authentic and how that's worked out for them. And remember, any energy that you bring to the table, you will get back. So ideally, to be as clear of any drama story as much as we can, so that we don't get dragged into any other drama story with anybody else. And the thought card of the day for me today is the Devil, is again addictions, is the 15th card. And so again, if we look at number 15 today, well, it's Blue Eagle, of course. And I love how that synchronizes together. So letting go of our addictions, letting go of our codependency to be an amazing planetary server who is living in the Garden of Eden, creating heaven on earth, free of any of these distorted, unhealthy patterns, and something that we're all working towards. So lots of love to you. Hope you have an amazing manifestation day and an amazing time for the mass, seeing what you've harvested, seeing what you've created, seeing what your legacy is, whether that's carrots and flowers or children or your work. The true legacy is you, and you're here to be the amazing, beautiful you that you are. Lots of love. Shine your light.